Hello, the topic of today's presentation is how to communicate with others in high quality. The society we live in can turn all conversation into arguments and very polarized. So the ability to communicate smoothly in appropriate situation is very important. What I want to say is if you follow a few rules, you can have a great conversation skills. Conversation is not that difficult.
First, you should focus on the conversation you are having. If you are not focusing on the conversation or doing anything else, the other person will surely knowing it and the desire to continue the conversation may disappear. This makes it difficult to grasp of the follow of the conversation, creating a situation where you have to listen again or tell the other person. Example, when I talk to my friend, I often talk to them while sending message, which make it difficult to grasp the contents and follow of the conversation. It makes them ask for explanation again and they felt uncomfortable. Even if you talk for a short time, it is important to focus on the conversation without doing anything else.
The second, don't be pontificate. Conversation is a two-way process. It's not just talking. If you're not listening to what the other person is saying, no, not communication. A one-side talk is not conversation. Maybe it's a speech or talk self. A good conversation requires learning to put down yourself and learn to listen. In a survey of the 500 largest companies in the United States, more than 15% of the companies that responded offer listening training to their employees. Studies have shown that students who are good listeners are more successful than those who are not. Just like journalists, doctors, and psychologists, they will choose to put themselves in the learned person before they figure out the situation. Listen carefully and get information through listening. Then ask the question and communicate, and finally reach a situation they want. Everyone is unexpected sometimes. So overdoing the unfamiliar communication environments will create a very embarrassing situation. True listening requires letting go of yourself and your idea. Learn to listen and don't pontificate.
Finally, use open-ended questions because people can give more interesting and funny answers than you think. For example, if you ask me, did you feel sad after watching this movie? Then I will say, yes, I feel sad, or no, that's okay. There are only two options. On the other hand, if you ask me, how did you feel after watching this movie? Then I will say, when the main character died, my heart ached and I cried. I'm so sad. The answer depends on the question. Thus, use 5W1H to tell me. You can have more diverse conversation through questions that they can answer freely.
And conclusion number one, don't multitask. It's not stop to do something in your hand. The most important is be present and be in the moment. Don't be half in it and half out of it. And number two, don't pontificate. You need to enter every conversation assuming that you have something to learn. Setting aside your personal opinion, sensing your acceptance, the speaker will become less and less vulnerable and more likely to open up the inner recesses. And number three, use open-ended question. Let other people describe it, ask a feeling that they might have to stop for a moment and think about it. It will be the conversation much more interesting responses. And finish.